We continue to look back at the Raiders' Week 6 victory over the Tennessee Titans, take a look at the quarterback position, and take you inside the Raiders locker room. That plus more on Tuesday's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast for October 14th, 2025.
You are Locked On Raiders, your daily Las Vegas Raiders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome in, Raider Nation, to another edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Thank you so much for making the show your first listen of the day. Definitely appreciate you if you're catching the show wherever you find your favorite podcast, or you're checking us out by way of the YouTube page. You know we appreciate both. Show grows each and every day because of your support and the great job that my man Ari does each and every day behind the scenes, making sure we look good and sound good. So we shout him out. We appreciate him. He's on Twitter at Ari Produces. You can hit me up as well at your boy Q254. And if you want to be a part of the show, as many of you do, the Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line is there for you, 707-654-4693. A lot of feedback on today's show. We'll close things out hearing from you, calls, texts, good and bad. We'll take it all coming up in segment number 3. Segment number 2, we'll take you inside the Raiders locker room, talk to a handful of players, but I think the linebackers were the ones that really stood out to me the most. Devin White, who you heard a little bit from on Monday's show, Jamal Adams, didn't get a chance to get him on yet, and Landon Roberts. So I think we'll go ahead and let you hear the full meal deal from Landon Roberts. I mean, he's fantastic. He's been one of those guys that has been fun to talk with ever since he's been a member of the Raiders, and a guy that's been there, done that, been in the league for multiple years, a guy that's won a Super Bowl, won a couple Super Bowls, and also been on really bad teams. So kind of seen the good and the bad, and has that leadership that he can help provide for this Raiders team. So we'll let you hear from him coming up in segment number 2. Here in segment number 1, news and notes of the day, and we'll really just talk about the victory that the Raiders had, what it meant, and look at the quarterback position and how Geno Smith can continue to improve. We'll jump into that after I tell you about the title sponsor of the show, which is FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So we know what it is. The Raiders get the 20-10 victory over Tennessee. They're now 2-4 on the season, and they got to get ready to turn the page and head to Kansas City for Week 7 action before they go into their bye week. They did well defensively. Offense was on the struggle bus for one reason or the other, right? I know Ashton Jeanty did everything he could. He had 23 carries and a couple catches as well, so that was good. You can see the way that they're trying to use him. You're seeing that they're getting him out on the outside a little bit more, which is smart. I would like to see him get more outside runs, and I'd like to see Geno Smith be under center more. I think it makes Ashton Jeanty and his effectiveness that much better. But we do need to focus in on Geno Smith. He's a guy that leads the league in interceptions. He now has 10 after another interception, an ill-advised pass on Sunday against Tennessee, one that he just can't throw. You just got to be smarter with the ball. And for the most part, he was smart with the ball all game long. He didn't try to stretch the field. He didn't try to get greedy. He basically took what was right there. Every pass was short. All his completions were short. Only one of them went for more than 10 yards, and that was late in the game. He was 17 for 23, 174 yards, had a touchdown to Michael Mayer, which was good. It was on a play where he was surveying the field, didn't really know who he was going to hit, and then all of a sudden, boom, you saw him hit Big Mike. It was great to see Michael Mayer back in action. He's easily a guy that when we handed out game balls on Monday, you could have handed a game ball to him too. See Michael Mayer back, especially with Brock Bowers out, was a big addition, but also Geno had that interception that we mentioned. Right now on the season, right, Geno Smith was the guy that the Raiders went out there and made the move for. Geno Smith is the guy that they identified as he's going to be their quarterback. They're not going to go into the draft and get a guy early on, right, and have the pressure of starting him right away or hearing that they got to get him in the game sooner rather than later. They didn't identify this as a strong quarterback class, so they decided after the move for Matt Stafford didn't work out, they decided to go, all right, we're going to go with Geno Smith, who Pete Carroll's very familiar with. So far through 6 games, he has 1,350 yards, 7 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. That's not going to cut it, right? His QBR is 38.2, which is good for 28. Well, there's only 32 teams in the league. So Geno's 28th right now, and I know that there's been more than 28 starting quarterbacks, more than 32 starting quarterbacks, as you've seen backup start as well, but that's just not good, especially the touchdowns to interceptions ratio. We talked about it all offseason long, what Geno had to do as opposed to what he did last year in Seattle, where a lot of people said, oh, he just tried to force the ball because he felt like all the weight on the team was all on him, right? He didn't have the offensive line to protect him. He was trying to do too much. He was trying to force it in the red zone. And so we all said to a person, the 15 touchdowns and 10 interceptions is not going to cut it for this Raiders team. They're going to need him to be closer to 30 touchdown passes and around 10 interceptions. Well, clearly he's on pace to have a lot more than 10 interceptions if he's already at 10 through 6 games. That's not going to cut it. He's going to have to figure things out. If he has to have a couple games like he had on Sunday where he's not pushing the ball down the field, he's trying to take the safe plays, that's fine. But he's got to just be smart, and he's got to understand what he's doing, and he's got to stop diagnosing and telegraphing exactly what he's going to do. And look, I've never been some guy that claims to be some film breakdown guy. I'm not the guy that's sitting there, diagnosing every single play and, drawing it up on the whiteboard what just happened and breaking it down. There's guys out there that do that, and they do a fantastic job. I'm not that guy. But if I identify with the naked eye what Geno's doing wrong, when when the ball is being delivered. Whenever Geno's very, as a matter of fact, where he's going to go with the ball, it comes out smooth, it comes out quick, and it goes to where it needs to go, and usually it's on point. Because Geno is an accurate quarterback. I don't want to take that from him. But when he has to survey, when the first read's not there, when the second read's not there, and he has to survey the field a little bit, all of a sudden he rocks back on his back foot. Every time he rocks back, and then boom, almost like he's a pitcher. Right, and Major League Baseball postseason is going on right now, so it's a big time pitcher. Is in my head right now. That's what I'm thinking of as we see postseason action going on. But that's what it looks like. It almost looks like I said, he rocks back and then boom, fires that thing in there. The minute that he rocks back on that back foot, DBs, linebackers, whatever the case may be, they break. They break because they know exactly where the ball's going. Early, it was going to Jacoby Myers. Now it's just, it's going to Dante Thornton later. And obviously Dante only had a couple snaps offensively for the Raiders on Sunday. Didn't really see him in there. And Pete Carroll on Monday said that it just didn't go his way. It didn't go in that favor. It's not like they benched him, but call it what you want to call it. He only had a couple snaps. Jack Besh had a lot more snaps out there. His snap number, you've seen it go up and up, even though he didn't have any catches on Sunday. He did have a target, but he's very physical when it comes to the blocking game. There's a lot that Jack Besh can do that you'll like, but they've still got to continue to develop those young quarterbacks. But Geno's just got to be better. I don't know what he's trying to prove right now, and I say that respectfully. I'm not saying that he's, out there trying to prove a point, but it just seems like ever since he's had a little bit of struggles when it comes to the turnovers, like he tries to make that next pass the one that makes up for all the turnovers. And there's no way you can do that. You just are at where you're at. You're at 10 interceptions. You're leading the league. That's not good enough. You've just got to go out there and play your game, but you can't think about it and try to get it all back on one play. Just like the Raiders can't overcome the fact that they're 2-4. They can't all of a sudden turn 4-4 in one win. Right? They don't all of a sudden get to 500. They can only take it one game at a time. Geno could only take it one throw at a time. Now, look, Chip Kelly as an OC, I think he has to be better in helping him out as well, right? Putting him in a better position. I know when I asked Chip about getting Geno comfortable, he said he's been playing pretty well for us. I don't think that he's playing at the level that anyone expected. I know there's been calls for Kenny Pickett. I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon, right? If he stinks it up against Kansas City, maybe they think about it during the bye week and try to put together something that Kenny Pickett can work with. But my gut feeling tells me that Geno's going to be the guy for the long haul, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine with him being the guy, just continuing to work it out, but he's got to play that leadership role. He's got to be a smart quarterback. He's got to understand that this team is his as long as he's handling his business and doing the right thing, making the right reads. Right? We all want to see him stretch the field. We all want to see him be very effective, but we also want to see him throw it to the guys with the silver and black jerseys on, not the other team. So he's just got to be smarter with the ball. Again, right where he's at right now, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, that's not going to work. But he can't think about that when he's in the game, and it just feels like to me that's what he's doing. And you saw him on Sunday. He looked very guarded with the way that he played. Didn't look like he wanted to take any chances. And I don't know who said it on the broadcast, but I saw it after he threw that ill-advised interception where he just, he fell in love with Michael Mayer being his safety net, that he just tried to throw anything to him when he was under pressure, when honestly he should have just taken a sack, right? And I know it's not often that we always say, hey, take a sack. Most of the time we say, hey, you can't take that sack because it takes you out of scoring position, but you can't turn the ball over the way he did either. So he's just got to continue to work, continue to grind. Again, talking to the players in the locker room, these are not my words, they're theirs. They have his back. They're telling him that, even like the guys on defense, hey, man, we're going to get the ball back for you. Don't worry about it, whatever the case may be. Ashton Genty's been in his corner, trying to be that leader. Ashton was that leader on the side of the field, on the sideline, when he pulled the whole offense to the side and basically said, hey, man, we're not playing the way that we're supposed to be playing. We need to be better. Let's go. Let's put it together. And that's a rookie speaking. So, Geno's just got to relax and go out there and play his game. It just seems like, and it feels like, he's just doing what he was doing in Seattle last year, where they said he was trying to do too much. 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions is not going to cut it. So hopefully Chip Kelly, hopefully Pete Carroll, hopefully everyone Greg Olsen, right, the quarterback coach, who's, I believe, a really good quarterback coach, everyone's got to get in Geno's ear. They've got to help him out during practice and make sure he's right. This team could play well. They have good weapons. I think that Chip Kelly could be a good offensive coordinator. I think he has to be better. Don't think he's, been as good as advertised as I thought he was going to be at this stage of the game. And please don't have Geno throwing the ball to Alex Kappa anymore. Definitely don't need that. Don't have to get too cute. Don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. Just go ahead and play smart situational football. First and goal at the 2-yard line, just run that bad boy 3 times. If you can't get the ball in the end zone 3 times, if you got first and goal from the 2-yard line, something's wrong with you, right? And then maybe you have something else to think about. But you shouldn't have to do a trick play from the 2-yard line to get into the end zone. And obviously it didn't work either, right? But it put them in a compromising position. Second down, they lose yardage. Now all of a sudden, third down, they have to pass. And now you're thinking, man, they might not score a touchdown here. Hell, they might not score because I thought they were going to go for it on 4th down regardless. So there was a chance where they might have came away with no points. Obviously, Geno hits Michael Mayer, and that works. They get a touchdown. But, man, that was way harder than it really needed to be. So Geno Smith, again, 1,350 yards, 7 TDs, 10 interceptions through 6 weeks. He's got to continue to do better. He's got to step his game up. He steps his game up, the offense will step its game up. The offense steps its game up, and the defense keeps playing at the level that it's playing. Now that it's seen some success and has a little bit of confidence, was able to get some pressure and create some turnovers, now you can start to have a team that wins more games, right? And that's what it's all about. Playing complementary football, that's how you win games. But it's going to take the whole team to get it done, starting with the quarterback, Geno Smith. We'll hear from one of the guys on defense, Landon Roberts, who I consider one of the big leaders in that Raiders locker room, and in a room that has a bunch of leaders. We'll hear from him next. Coming up, segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about a couple great sponsors here on the Locked On Raiders podcast, and the first one is BILT. Nobody, and I mean nobody, likes paying rent. But if you must, you might as well get something for it, right? That's where BILT comes in. BILT is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards that you can actually use. When you pay rent through BILT, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed towards hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and a whole lot more. But BILT isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. You're earning points every month on something that you already have to pay. You're grabbing food. You go to a local restaurant. You're headed to the gym. You're earning rewards. BILT has made everyday life feel more rewarding, from your neighborhood to your travel plans. Turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/lockedonnfl. That's joinbuilt, joinbilt.com/lockedonnfl. Make sure to use that link so they know that I sent you. I also want to tell you about Rugiet Go Long. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Go Long. If you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, again, I'll say it for the folks in the back row, it's time to meet Rugiet Go Long. Rugiet Go Long is not just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula so you can go the distance, if you know what I mean. The effects can last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day, all night, and you know the math, even into the next day. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. If you're prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. If prescribed, again, for the folks in the back row, your treatment ships discreetly to your door. So if you're ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom, head to Rugiet.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 15% off your first order. Rugiet, Rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure to use the code, again, so they know that I sent you. All right, Raider Nation, here we go. Segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Want to take you inside the Raiders locker room. It's something that I teased on Monday's show. Got to hear a little bit from Devin White, who I handed a game ball to. There was plenty of guys on defense. There was actually really good performances in general that I was thinking about handing out a game ball. I just wanted to hand out one as opposed to 3, 4, whatever the case may be. So I decided to hand out one to Devin White. He caused the fumble. He set up the Raiders first and goal from the 2. He came up with the interception right before half. Obviously, there's a lot of guys that helped him out, including Jonah Laulu, who Kirk Morrison, who's a longtime NFL linebacker, Raider linebacker, current color commentator alongside Jason Horowitz on the Raiders broadcast. He was talking about Jonah Laulu that, man, look what he was able to do. Leads the team in sacks right now with 4. He was the guy that was responsible for the hit on Cam Ward that ultimately got intercepted by Devin White right before halftime. Jonah Laulu, the hometown kid, the Las Vegas guy, right? The guy who went to Hawaii and then Oklahoma. He's been really playing at a high level, and really that aggressiveness that he gets after the quarterback, the ball carrier. He was just flying around the field on Sunday, and he's been doing that throughout the majority of the season, which goes back to what Max Crosby said about him in the offseason. When we asked him about Laulu after Christian Wilkins was released, he said, man, he's so good, and he doesn't even know how good he is at this stage of the game. So I think he's going to continue to develop, and if he can develop into a big-time defensive tackle, then the Raiders will be onto something, cooking with grease. Right now, the defense, again, played at a high level on Sunday, and you want to hope that they continue to do that. But we talked to so many guys in the Raiders locker room following the game: Michael Mayer, Max Crosby, Jamal Adams, Jack Besh, Ashton Genty, Devin White, and Landon Roberts, a guy that I've had a pretty good relationship with since he's been a member of the Raiders. Talk to him all the time. I start my radio show with one of his quotes every single day about how every day matters. Every single day on Unnecessary Roughness, before I jump into the opening drive, we always hear from E-Rob. Well, we got a chance to hear from E-Rob in the locker room following the game. It was Vinny Bonsignore, Paul Gutierrez, Ed Graney, and myself all talking to E-Rob. And look, he does not give you short answers. He gives you very detailed answers. But like he starts my radio show every day when he says every day matters, every win matters. And I know a lot of people looked at that win on Sunday and said, yeah, but it was against the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, but they're not a very good football team. Yeah, but didn't blow them out. Yeah, but there was a lot of that going around. E-Rob let it be known why it was so important for the Raiders to win that game. Here he is in the Raiders locker room following it.
How big was this?
Oh, it was huge, man. But, every win is huge. But I think today it shows just playing complementary ball, offense, defense, and special teams. This is the NFL. Right. You got good defenses across the league. Everybody going to come out and play good defense. So if your offense isn't having a good coming out to where they want to, then defense, you have to do your job, and vice versa. If the defense not coming out and the offense we got to go score points because our defense kind of struggling until they get their feet wet, same thing with special team. Today we was able to complement each other. Time possession was amazing on the offensive side of the ball. Defense was able to get off on the field on third downs. Other than, our previous week, we kind of struggled with that, so we made them adjustments, get off the field, and then special teams, man, they played lights out, man. They came with it, and that's what we're going to need throughout the whole season. So that's why I said, man, this was our best complementary football game. We got a lot in this team. I know people want to say this and say that, but we got a lot of juice on this team and stuff like that. The team is not broken. It's not arguing with no coaches. It's not none of that.
Right.
I think just everybody want their stuff to get read, so they just doing that. But I say too, just what I'm saying, we sticking together, and just remember, I'm so optimistic. I was on a 1-7 Dolphins team that went to the playoffs. Right. So I did. You know what I'm saying? I did been through it. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, and this team is built. When I say built from a talent perspective and just from a mentality, better than that team was. Right. And you know what I'm saying? So I'm just hey, look, you just start stringing together. You get one win, you put that, and you focus on one team. You don't look ahead, you just focus on that team. And then you just keep going from there. Before you know it, you're right where you want to be.
Turnovers. You guys weren't creating any turnovers. You got a couple today.
Huge. And you just see the unselfishness on Devin could have just went tackled him and just got the sack. But what he did, he went after the ball, was able to put our offense in a position to have the ball right down to one, complementary football.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Devin was able to get another opportunity when they could have got 3 points out of that. Going into half and stuff like that, and was able to get off the field, no points. That's a swing.
Right.
And then we get the ball at the half.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why I said we played well. but we play better from a complementary standpoint and stuff like that. And just look across the league. That's what usually winning games. Complementary football, you know what I'm saying?
From that perspective, you guys got the lead, and you guys haven't, as a defense, played with a lead very often this year, unfortunately. But you did. How much of a difference is that for you guys when you have a lead and you kind of can dictate terms in that regard?
I think that's big just from a situational standpoint, because okay, their offensive mindset is going to be a little different playing from behind and stuff like that. But even when you're behind, like. We thinking that, man, it's so crazy just the transition from when I played high school to college. Like, in the pros, you really think about situational ball. Yeah. Because you're not good situationally, man. Like, you'll get beat. And that's what Pete harp on every day and stuff like that. And, it's a new team, a new regime. And sometimes it takes this kind of game to get that page going, get that. Everybody's all in, but you see it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? From a standpoint of, hey, told you, just do this and we're going to be all right. Right. Like, everybody wants the offense. Who doesn't want the offense to get the ball every down and go score? Right. It's the NFL. We don't have college games doing 60 points every week. It's not, people don't do that.
Madden?
Yeah, it's not Madden. People don't do that. Right. So if somebody say the expectations, obviously, everybody want to go out there. Every offense possession is score. I had Tom Brady. He ain't scored every offense possession. But at the end of the day, if we just, let's say they get 2 first downs. They kick it from the 50. The defense get the ball on the 10-yard line, right? I mean, off their offense, and we on 10-yard line. We keep them back there. A punter, punt it back. Now our offense is starting on the 45-yard line. From a situational standpoint, how much scoring go up, right? And stuff like that from a situational standpoint. So, like, you look at that, and if we could just play situation, complementary ball well, we'll be just fine. And it displayed it today.
Just from a mental standpoint, how important or how nice was it, necessary was it to end that losing streak and get this win, no matter how it looked?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. I'm good. I'm in a good mood. I'm trying to tell you, I'm not even going to look at the film until tomorrow so I can enjoy it. And so I don't have to, I had to be better right here. I'm going to enjoy this. Because we've been grinding, man, and that's what it's about, So I'm going to enjoy this win. Not going to enjoy it too long because we got a divisional opponent coming up. Divisional games always slugfest. Yeah. So we gotta get it out the mud however it may come. And we're going to be all right, man. And that's going to start, to be honest with you, tomorrow, flipping that page. Our coach is going to grind out and stuff like that. So it is what it is.
So there's a lot of times that I can pass a message along. There's a lot of times that I can say what's going on or what's not going on, right? I know a lot of people were referencing the issues in the locker room. And, E-Rob even laughed at that. Like, there's not that situation. Yes, I know Jermaine Pratt is no longer there, and I know that things weren't smooth with him. But there was something that he expected when he got to the Raiders that obviously didn't happen. And whatever the case may be, I don't know what that reason is. They don't tell me these things. They don't have to tell me these things. Jermaine Pratt didn't tell me these things. E-Rob didn't tell me that, but he also said there was no issue in the locker room. That was a good thing. Max Crosby doubled down and said the same thing. Other players said the same thing. So take it for what it is. It's not my words. It's his. But, you can hear in his voice why things were so important. The experiences he had in Miami, losing. And look, he said that they went 1-7, then they made the playoffs. They actually didn't make the playoffs that year, right? After doing a little fact checking, Paul Gutierrez from Raiders.com actually did some fact checking. Me and him were on the phone Sunday night about it. They ended up going and winning 7-game winning streak and ended up going 9-7, and then they made the playoffs the next year. But to his point, they didn't just give up on the season because they started out bad, and that's why That's why you go play the games. Right? You never know what's going to happen. You saw the Bears on Monday Night Football beat the Commanders. You saw the Bills now lose 2 games in a row as they lost on Monday Night Football as well, right? To the Atlanta Falcons, who are a good team too, right? They have some really good qualities, really good running back in Bijan Robinson, obviously Michael Penix Jr. as well, playing at a pretty good level after they got embarrassed in, week 3, where they lost 30-0 to the Carolina Panthers. This league is such a week-to-week league. You just don't know what you're going to get game in and game out. But I just thought that was important for you to hear from E-Rob, one of the leaders in the locker room, along with Max, along with Michael Mayer, along with Jamal Adams and Devin White, right? There's a lot of leaders. Ashton Genty, one of the leaders in the locker room. There's a lot of dudes, Adam Butler, who show that leadership. and E-Rob is one of them as well. So just wanted to make sure I pass that along so you can hear it. Coming up in segment number 3, what is on your mind? Your calls and texts, 707-654-4693. We hear from you next. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about another great sponsor here on the show, and it's the title sponsor, FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and we're already through 6 weeks. FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And, man, you have so many different ways to play, right? Parlays, player props, right? Live lines during the games, whatever the case may be. However you want to play it, they've got it covered for you. It makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. So you could be a casual fan or you can love diving into the stats. FanDuel makes the game day experience that much better. So what are you waiting for? Get up off your shoulders and make it happen. Visit FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel app today, and get started. Here we go, Raider Nation. Segment number 3 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Your calls and texts. You're off that Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line, 707-654-4693. Your calls and texts. We hear from you as we close out today's show. We'll start out with Raider Eddie in Denver. Haven't heard from him in a minute. He's calling to talk about the locker room and the fact that, well, I said on Monday that there's no problem from my point of view, but he has a political take he wants to add to it. So here he is, Raider Eddie in Denver.
Hey, Q, what's up? Raider Eddie in Denver. Hey, I'm listening to your show here on Monday, and you're talking about, hey, there's no issues in the locker room. Everybody's on board with the coaching and everything like that. Well, Q, I think that you are sort of like the White House press secretary, and you are communicating the words of, as if you were communicating the words of the White House, okay? What I mean by that is you guys do work for the Raiders. Raider Nation Radio is a part of the Raiders. It's funded by the Raiders. JT the Brick talks about it all the time. JT the Brick says, I work for the team. I'm not going to say anything bad about the team, but I'm going to try to, shoot it to you straight anyway. Well, and that's the whole thing, Q, is as the White House press secretary, in a matter of speaking, for the Raiders, you're not gonna come with, hey, there's discord in the locker room, hey, there's this issue or that issue. You're just not really gonna typically have a lot of the negative stuff. It's gonna be more positive, and I don't blame you for that. It's just not the most objective source. So I do believe, for example, Mitchell Renz has some inside sources in the locker room. I do believe that he will break stories oftentimes before they actually happen because of those inside sources and because he's not beholden to the team. He's not funded by the team. So Q, just want to say that I still like your show a lot. It's just, it is what it is. It offers a different flavor in terms of its media coverage of the Raiders, and that's fine. I just want you to be aware when you claim on this show today, when you claim, hey, this isn't true, that's not true. Well, Q, maybe not for you, but again, you work for the team essentially. The Raider Nation radio program, that funding is from the team, right? You know that better than me. Anyway, Q, I love the show, and I hope you have a good one. This Raider Nation, Raider Eddie in Denver, out.
Raider Eddie, thanks for the call as always. Appreciate you, and I'll just make this short, sweet. Said it a million times. I'll say it a million more, apparently. I do not work for the Raiders. I do not work for the Raiders. I do not work for the Raiders. I work with the Raiders. Raider Nation Radio 920 is the flagship station of the Raiders, but the only employee of the Raiders is JT the Brick, and he says it all the time, as you referenced in your call. So the Raiders don't control what I say. Obviously, we have a partnership, but that's it. So I'm not keeping any locker room secrets, or I'm not going on the podcast or the radio and saying there's no problem because the Raiders want me to. No, I'm saying there's no problem because the players said there's no problem. So I'll take their word over anyone's word. Now, if there is a problem and they're just not saying it, that's fine. That's their choice. I'm not putting words in their mouth. I'm not making up anything. I'm telling you what the players in the locker room said, as you heard from E-Rob in segment number 2. As a matter of fact, here's what Max Crosby had to say in the Raiders locker room when he was asked about that supposed players-only meeting that has been reported that it supposedly happened.
Max, how much do you feel like the players' meeting was a positive heading into this game?
It's complete bullshit. I don't know who made that up, and I hear different random bullshit all the time. So I don't know who came up with that, but that is 100% false. It comes from.
So again, there's Max Crosby. Again, not my words, his. I'm just passing it along. I'm like the weatherman. I'm telling you that the rain is coming. If you want to wear a raincoat, you want to take an umbrella, that's cool. If you don't, cool. And maybe it doesn't rain, but it's forecast to have rain. That's all. Just a weatherman. So the only thing that I'm guilty of, and the only thing that, I don't know, I don't like the political aspect that you took to it, but that's fine. That's you. The only thing that I guess you could say is political is that I believe in what I say when I say that you don't have to agree with me, you don't have to like me, you don't have to respect me to be a part of the show. Because technically I should just not put your calls on ever and just be like, you know what, this dude is just too much. But like I say all the time, and I try to listen to my own words and people that are smarter than me, if you take the time to call, you take the time to text, I can give you the time of day. I might not like it, but I will. I don't do it all the time, obviously, but I'll do it. And that's me trying to be respectful to you. And at some point think maybe whatever it is that you're trying to get over and you're trying to prove or whatever the issue you have with me, maybe you'll get over it at some point. Clearly not, but it's okay. Yeah, it's always about me somehow. Every call you've ever had has to do with me. Always goes back to me. But it's cool. Again, you call, you spend the time to call, I'll give you the time of day. So thanks so much for that. Appreciate you. Up next, got a text from 360 Raider. He says, hey, Q, 360 Raider here. Short text, love winning, but am I the only one that thought the Titans just look worse than the Raiders? Love the show, Q, as always. 360 Raider. Yeah, they look bad. That's the reason why they fired their coach, right? They look bad. We all knew that the coach was on the outs sooner rather than later. They didn't look good at all. The good thing is that the Raiders won against a team that didn't look good, because there's been times that a team that doesn't look good walks into a leading stadium and beats them, and then we all wonder what in the hell just happened. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. They didn't look good. They're not a good team, but the Raiders have had multiple games this season where they haven't looked good either. And I'm believing that they're a better team than what their record says they are. But as we know the saying, you are what your record says you are. So you've got to go out there and prove it. But thanks so much for the short and sweet text. I do appreciate that. Dale in Vancouver has got a call. He's calling to talk about Geno Smith and what he noticed about some of his passes. Here's Dale in Vancouver.
Hey, Q. This is Dale from Vancouver. I just got a question about Geno Smith and what your thoughts on it is. Now, there was a couple times in that game against the Titans to where he just threw and left his receivers just, out to stranded, out in the middle of nowhere. And a couple kind of hesitant to go for the ball afterwards. Do you think that when he holds the ball too long, it makes these receivers a little bit more reluctant to run over the middle, or think that they're going to be open by the time they hit their break? Because Daniel Jones and Mac Jones, whoever quarterback I see playing on Sunday, was throwing more of an anticipation route, and he wasn't anticipating this route. So I just want to know what your thoughts on it is.
Dale, thanks so much. And yes, he's definitely thrown some hospital balls, my man. The one in the flat to Genty was all bad. And as soon as he threw that ball, all I thought was, oh, boy, because you could see it coming, right? Lincoln pointed it out on the squad show on Monday, right? You got a cover two corner out there, and you're going to throw that hospital ball. That's a setup for failure. And you saw Genty got banged up, but as he mentioned after the game, it's just some bumps and bruises. He's okay. There's probably guys that are hesitant to go over the middle, knowing that the hospital ball's on the way. It happened with Jimmy G. Again, I talked about Geno in segment number 1. He's got to clean all that up. He's got to get a lot better, right? They pay him. They decided to make him the franchise quarterback. They went and traded for him. He wasn't a guy that was a leftover and Pete Carroll inherited him. No, they went out and made the move for him. So he's got to reward them and show why he did do that. So thanks so much for the call. Definitely appreciate you. Got a text from Raider Canuck. Hey, Q, Raider Canuck here. I'm glad we finally got a win. It may not be against a great team, but it's momentum to build off. We can carry this forward in next week, gradually improve each week. I think it'll be a good season to give hope for the future. Along with Devin White, I think Genty and Big Mike should get a game ball. They were really the only thing the offense had going. I also want to say happy Thanksgiving to you and Ari. Here in Canada, we celebrate a little earlier than you guys. Go Raiders. That's Raider Canuck. That's awesome. Thanks so much for that. I do appreciate you. And, yeah, Genty and Big Mike definitely played big roles in the game as well. Offense did not look good. It has to be a lot better this week to pull off the win in Kansas City and Arrowhead against the Chiefs. But, yeah, those guys definitely stepped up, and they're going to be needed in a major way. There's no doubt. So thanks so much for that. I do appreciate it. And that's all I got time for on today's show. I still got a call from Paul the Barber, a text from Down South Raider. We'll make sure to get those coming in on tomorrow's show. We'll get more news and notes. The Raiders are off today, and then they'll be back at it, practice on Wednesday, getting ready for, the Kansas City Chiefs Week 7, the last game before their bye week. So we'll have plenty to get to. Again, more news and notes, more conversation, maybe even a little bit more locker room sound, and, of course, your calls and texts as well. So until then, Raider Nation, take care of yourself, take care of your family, love on your family. Most importantly, as always, just win, baby.